evening, good afternoon, everybody. Very nice to have you all today. My name is Yuzbasheva Elina Georgievna, and I'm a teacher of the Institute of International Education of Moscow State Pedagogical University. As you can see on my first slide, we have our beautiful building, which is on the Yugo-Zapadne metro station. And yes, you can see that we are considered to be one of the best universities in Russia. And yes, let's start. Today we hopefully will have great time together and we'll practice for your state exam. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. And we are going to start, of course. So first thing I want you to do is to put plus in the chat box if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Oh, sorry. So can you guys hear me? Okay, just a second. Would you put please a plus in the chat box? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Very nice to have you all today. So we are going to move on. So as you see, the topic of today's meeting is understanding the text, the text or comprehension, right? So can you give me a synonym for comprehension? What is comprehension? What would be the synonym? Can you please type in the synonym for the word comprehension in the chat box? So what is comprehension? Do you know this word? If you don't, just put question mark then, and I will tell you. Okay, right, good. Yes, so yeah, thank you guys. So for those who don't know, yes, thank you. So those who don't know, well, comprehension means understanding. And it's very important to know the synonyms for a lot of words because you might need it. And that would be one of the strategies for successful passing of your examination, which I'm going to share with you in a second. So as you can see, many people read, but they don't understand what they read. So the thing that is missing from this puzzle is called comprehension. So not only reading is important, you might read for a lot of time. Yes, intelligence, yes, it's a part of it. You might reading and reading, but what you need to do is also comprehension and understanding what is written, the attitudes of the narrator, of the author, of the characters, etc. Right, so the next thing we are going to have a look at is the strategies and tips, right? So before we practice, let's have a look at some of the strategies. So as you can see, the questions, Q stands for questions, it's short for questions. So questions can be about the whole text, attitude, and about some specific information in the text. What is important to understand is that both correct and incorrect answers, I don't have an answer here, but it's answers, may contain words from the text, but they are called distractors, right? So they are here to distract you from the correct answers. So the tips that we have here are to pay attention to the context, right? And the question for you is, what is context? How do you understand context? Can you please type in the chat box, what is context? Okay. plot, right? Not exactly. Any other options? So what is context? Okay, the main idea, close, but not really. Okay, the idea, right? Well, yeah, so the context basically is the background information. So context is not what is said in the text, but your understanding and the author's idea, what the author wants you to understand. Now that is the context, the relationship between the characters and all the things like that. Right, so the second tip for you, what I want you to understand is that you have to be beware of exact wording and questions from the text. This is what we have talked about a bit earlier. So they are usually incorrect. They are here to distract you. So if you have the exact wording in the text, which is in the question and in one of the answers, that is probably incorrect. The next one is correct answers usually contain synonyms and paraphrase. Now we talked about synonyms. Now what is paraphrase? When you paraphrase something, what do you do? What does it mean to paraphrase? Would you please type in the chat box? What is paraphrase? And paraphrasing. In other words, yes, say the same with another words, right? Express the same idea with another words, right? Good. Glad that you know what that is. And the next one is to understand, yes, change the words. Yes, change the words so that we save the meaning, right? So the next one, the next tip for you is to understand the reference and referring words, such as this, he, etc. So different pronouns and different things like that. What is reference? I want you to understand these terms. So what is a reference? Would you please type in the chat box? What is reference? Okay, pointing to something, right? Word that relates to something, linking words. Good, right, good. Thank you, guys. That's the exact thing, what I wanted you to tell me. Now, the next tip is, if you don't know the meaning of the word, guess it from the context. Guessing, yes, so linguistic guess and all types of guesses, they actually work. If you completely are unaware of the correct answer, you might just guess it from the context, from the words surrounding the one word that you don't know. Yeah, linking words also included in the referring words. And the next one. So in no case can you leave questions without answers, even if you're not sure in your choice, right? So you have to choose probably the lesser evil if you want. If you don't know what to choose, just choose the one that speaks to you. Right, so let's move on to the next part. Now here we have some reference practice. I'll give you about 2 to 3 minutes to make your choice and to choose basically what would be the best reference in each case. And you can type in your answers in the chat box. So let's have a couple of minutes. So when you're ready, please type in your answers. Okay, Tatiana, don't just type in the word, please, but maybe choose the letter, like 1A, 2A, 3A. Yeah, good, Maria, thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, Palina. Let's wait 10 more seconds. Good. Right. Well, I'm sure you guys want to know the correct answers, so let's walk through them. So in the first sentence, so New Zealand is becoming an increasingly popular destination for overseas visitors. It attracts tourists, people on business, but the vast majority come as students. So of course, it refers to New Zealand. Yes, so those who chose option B are correct. The next one, it attracts tourists and people on business, but the vast majority come as students, right? So mostly from Asian countries. They stay for anything for a few weeks to a few years or more, studying at language school, colleges, and universities. So of course, they refer to students. Yes, to students, right? Good. And the last one, so New Zealand can offer good homestay accommodation, clean, beautiful environment, reasonable cost of tuition. These factors attract an ever-increasing number of overseas students, accounting for millions of dollars in revenue for New Zealand. So of course, these factors include everything of the above. So A would be the correct option. Right, good, well done, guys. Let's move on to the next one. So paraphrasing. So again, let's have a couple of minutes for you to complete these tasks. So when you're ready, please type in your answers in the chat box. Let's have one more minute. Okay, so what are your answers? Right. Okay, let's have 10 more seconds. Okay, right. So let's discuss that. In the first one, so which is the best paraphrase of the following sentence? So deserts cover 1/5 of the surface of the earth. Now, why do you think that A is the best answer? Don't forget that we are looking for the best paraphrase. So it shouldn't be exact one, right? So it shouldn't be exact one. That's why A is not an option in the first one. So B would be the most suitable one, right? So because the first one is the exact sentence, so we don't have to use that. The second one, so a type of shark called short muffin, etc. So yes, of course, yeah, Timur, you're correct. All three questions have the answers B. So have a look one more time. Again, yeah, So have a look and let's move on to the next one. So the next information that I want you to understand and to remember, hopefully, is the following. So when you get confused about the text can be, of course, of some topics that you're not very familiar with, or contain some words that you don't really know. So when you get confused about the text, about information, and about some words, you just have to stop. Don't fret, don't struggle, but just stop and summarize what you have just read. That would help you not to read over and over again. So the second thing is that, again, if you're struggling, try reading out loud. Again, nothing bad about it, so you can read out loud, maybe murmur or whisper for yourself, and that way you will hear yourself, and maybe it will help you as well, so it might do that. So yes, thank you. Right, so the next one is, if you don't know the meaning of the word, guess it from the context. This is what we have been talking about a lot today, so guessing. And if you have time, try to explain to yourself why the options are incorrect. We will be doing that today again. So try to explain to yourself. And the last but not the least is to discuss the text with a friend, even an imaginary one. So yeah, imagine that you have to explain the information from the text to your friend or discuss it. That's fine. You don't have to be sorry. Sometimes it happens, the typos. Anyway, so yeah, try to discuss it with a friend, imagine a friend, or even with yourself. Why not, right? Why not? Right, so the next thing we are going to do. So before we read the first text for today, let's have a bit of a warm-up. Now, as you can see, the first task for you would be to find synonyms for such words as hidden, requires, and rubbish. So would you please type in the chat box? So you can write all the answers all together, like one, hidden is this word, etc. And the second one, so defining such words as turnout, dig up, and similarity. And we'll discuss the third one altogether. So would you please find synonyms for hidden, requires, and rubbish, and type them in the chat box, please. Okay, hidden, covered, hidden, missed, maybe, probably, yes. Okay, right, hidden, not seen, right. Good, right. What about requires? What about requires, guys? Can you please type in the synonyms for requires? Needs, demands, yes. Right, right you are. And what about rubbish? What about the word rubbish? Trash, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. The next one is, let's define. The first is turnout. How do you understand turnout? Yes, garbage, trash. Yes. What is turnout, guys? Can you please define it? The phrasal verb occur. Okay. Any other options? Appear. Yeah. Good. Right. Thank you, guys. And what about dig up? So dig up. What would be the definition of this word, or a synonym, if you will? Dig up. Know out. Discover. Right. Find. Yes, find would be probably one of the best options considering the text that we are going to read. But yeah, right. Find out. Well, if we talk about literal meaning of the word dig up, it means that yes, you uncover something, you find something. And similarity. What about similarity? Can you tell me about similar likeness? Yes, thank you, Milena. Well done. Right, likeness. Guys, before we read the text, what's your favorite genre of literature? What do you like to read? If you have some time, maybe. What's your favorite genre? Novels, right? Thank you, Timur. Okay, right. Sci-fi, novels, detectives. Good, right. Adventure. Right, thrillers, good, right, thank you guys. Well, yeah, poems, good, right. Well, let's, yeah, well, fantastic, probably fantasy, right? What you like is fantasy, not really Russian classic, okay, good, right. Thank you. Let's have a look at this slide. So as you can see, hopefully you do see that, we have this text called Agatha Christie's Secret Life as an Archaeologist. Do you know who Agatha Christie was? And if you do, would you please type in? What was she famous for? Okay, yes, writer. So what did she write? What kind of literature? What genre did she write in? Okay, detectives, right, good. Well, guys, as you can see, right, so we have the question. So would you please, detective stories, yes, of course. So would you please read the text and answer the first question? So according to Henrietta, Michael, etc. Let's have about 3 to 4 minutes for that. And when you choose the answer, you also have to explain the answer, okay? Can you please do that? So let's practice explaining the answers to ourselves. Couple more minutes. Let's have 1 more minute. Okay, guys, so if you are ready, would you please choose one of the, now, okay, number 3, right. What else? What do you guys think? Sabina, can you please explain your choice? Oksana, you as well. So why do you think? Okay, right. Why do you think it's number 3, guys? Okay, so Natalia thinks it's number 1. Can you explain your choice? Maybe 1 sentence. Why do you think so? Maybe some part of the text alludes you to that. Why do you think so? Okay. The word reveal, right, made you think of this option, Oksana. I see. Right. Okay, well then let's check, guys. Let's check and see who is correct. So yeah, guys, majority of you are correct. It's number 3, and you have this abstract of, yes, number 3, right, from the text. Yes, so the discovery requires a lot of digging up. Well, we discussed some of the other options. So you just told me that you think it's because of the word reveal, and you are correct. Now, what is the main idea of the text? Can you please type the main idea of the text? What is it? I mean, not including the title, of course. Would you please type in the chat box the main idea of the text? So what do you think was the most important information of the text? Whose perspective are we focused on? Let's have 5 more seconds. Well, yeah, maybe it's hard to do while maybe watching this workshop on your phone, but anyway, so these are the questions that you might want to ask yourselves when you prepare for examination, right? So yes, Agatha's career. Okay, right, good, thank you, Timur. Right, so these are the questions, guys, which you might want to maybe focus on when you prepare for your examination. Again, try to explain to yourself why other options are incorrect, the main idea of the text, maybe dwell on and think about the characters that you remember from the text and that you associate yourself with. Again, what do you know about the main character? And well, this specific question is, have you read any books by Agatha Christie? But I'm sure that you have, and some of you have proved that, right, in the beginning of today's workshop. Before the second text, we have some more questions. So what do you know about British food? Is it maybe you've heard that it is tasty or maybe tasteless? If you think that it's tasty, would you please put plus? And if you think that it's not, then minus. And if you don't know, put a question mark. Okay, plus. A lot of oil. All right. Okay, right. Good. Well, we are going to learn about some British food today, right? And the second question for you is, what is a synonym to conservative? Very tasty, you think? Okay, right, good. So what is the synonym to conservative, to the word conservative? Traditional, yes, traditional. And what about plain? What about the word plain? Simple, yes, good, thank you very much. And do you agree that dinner is always the most substantial meal during the day in Russia? So is it breakfast, dinner, or supper? Do you think that dinner is the most substantial meal during the day in Russia? It depends. Yes, no, okay, right. So we usually think about breakfast as the most substantial one, right? Probably. Okay, guys, yes. Thank you, guys. Let's move on to the text itself. Hopefully you see everything. So the text is called British Food, as you might have guessed. So let's have about 3 to 4 minutes and then discuss the answers. Let's have one more minute. So when you're ready, just type in the correct option in your opinion. Okay, maybe 2, 3. Right, 3, right. Let's see, Alexandra, let's see. Right, okay, well, time to reveal the correct answer. Yes, as you can see, again, it's answer number 3. So you guys were correct. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one. So on this slide, as you can see, we have a couple of questions, right? So the first is before the text, and the other one is after. Yes, please, Maya. What did you want to ask me? So guys, let's have about 4 minutes for this text to answer 2 questions here. One more minute. Okay, so if you're ready, okay, thank you, Timur. So I think it's number 3 in the first one. Okay, right. So don't forget there are 2 questions before and after the text. Okay. Right, so you think that both are number 1, Oksana. Right, well, we shall see. So yeah, don't pay attention to the first question. So yes, in number 2, it's number 1, right? The correct answer. And yes, both are number 1. Good, right. So have a look at the explanation. And we are going to move on to the next text. Okay. So again, there are 2 questions here. 3 minutes. If you're ready, you can type in your answers. Let's have 1 more minute. Okay, guys, so what are your answers for the first and for the second question? Can you please type them in the chat box? Okay, right. Okay. Right, so let's see. Okay, right, yeah, so I see the similarity in your answers. Let's have a look. So yeah, it's number 1 in the first question and number 3 in the second one. Have a look at the explanation. Right, so we shall move on now to the next part of today's meeting. So few more tips. Let yourself enjoy reading. That's very important. Don't force yourself. And it's very good if you can combine reading for studying and reading for pleasure. The ideal amount of time would be 2 to 3 hours a week. And basically, the third tip from me personally would be for you to not only face the challenge, but also to create it. What I like to do is to actually listen to music loudly when I do that, when I maybe practice with my students, and maybe turn on some YouTube videos very loudly. And that would be quite a challenge, but yeah, that would actually mean that it would seem to you much more simple during the examination, right? Where it probably would be much more quiet, right? As you can see. And also to view it as adventure, right? So this challenge. Now, I have created a couple of videos with my students, and I want you to watch them, if you will. So this video in particular tells you about some tips that my students have for you. So let's have a look. So guys, hello. Thank you for joining us today. You are second-year students of our institution of international education. So would you please tell us, having a look at this task of understanding the text completely, what would be pieces of advice that you can give to others?
Probably one of the most obvious is that you should look through the text or the synonyms. So in the task, you can find some words which you haven't faced in the text actually, but it means that there are synonyms for these words. So that's probably the key to succeed in answering the question correctly.
Good, thank you very much, Kate. What do you guys think? Do you have any other?
The second idea would be probably not to focus on each word, as you will just lose your timing. And if you have problems with the understanding, just go to the next word or to the next sentence and try to guess through the context. And like, don't be scared if you don't understand something. You can understand.
Thank you very much. Samet, what do you think?
I personally think that if you want to read the text quickly and you have a lack of time to do so, you can read only the first sentence and the last one. And in most cases, the main information about the text, about the abstract itself, will be on these sentences.
Good, very nice, interesting. Nadezhda?
So I think that I would actually agree with the girls, of course. So my advice here would be to find key language and maybe key sentence in each paragraph, as the girls said. Yeah. Or again, if you don't have much time left, unfortunately, you can try to scan through the text, again, as Sonia said, and maybe you can find this key information.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, so the guys were quite nervous, and probably that's why you might feel it through the screen even. Right, and the second part of the video that we have created with the guys, just a second. Okay, just a second. So guys, while I'm opening my presentation again, what tips do you guys remember? What do we do if we don't remember the name or the translation of the word? What do we do? Thank you, Alexander. Thank you. So what do we do when we don't remember some of the words? Okay, right, good. Right, good. So let me show you the second video. Yes, thank you, guys. The second, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. The next question for you guys would be, what would you tell the people who are now thinking of joining higher education and joining maybe our institution? What would you advise them in such situation that they are in now currently?
Maybe not to take the words of your parents too seriously, because most parents are very nervous and they put their nerves on you, and you become like dependent on this. So if you like don't listen to them sometimes, it would be okay.
Okay, so don't put too much pressure on yourself, right? Okay, right. What else would you advise?
So I think a nice advice here would be to follow your heart, of course, because yeah, you should. I think you should connect your future, your higher education with your interests, because it would raise your motivation always, regardless of how hard it can be to study. If you know why you're doing this, if you're interested in the subject, in this environment, the field, it will really help you.
Good, thank you very much. And what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, and in terms of being nervous about exams before it, so guys, don't be that focused on it, because it's just one small period of your life, and it won't ruin like your whole destiny, as you probably think right now. Yeah, so just do your best, yeah, and never give up, probably.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much, Sanet.
Yeah, and one more thing to advise is to not think about it as the last thing you can do in your life. So you can enjoy your time while studying, you can enjoy your time even while passing the exam, because you will feel nervous and you will feel all the emotions that you have on this time. And well, you studied for the whole year, so you can't forget every information that you've got in this year in the last minute. So don't worry about it.
I see. Good. Zhenya, do you have any advice of your own?
Yeah, I want you guys to understand that your life consists all these stages, and they're all only stages. They're not like the end of your life. It's not something that's scary that you are seeing, that you are thinking now about it. So just to perceive it as easy as you can, and just to work and concentrate on your thoughts, and try to enjoy your life, try to enjoy your work, because when it ends, you will think that oh, it was like too easy. So you just to take it more easy than you are taking it now, and just doing everything with joy and with your mind, and
Yeah,
just
good. Be conscious, be positive, and take it easy, right, guys?
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so guys, thank you. Thank you very much for spending this time with us and for participating in today's workshop. Hopefully you have learned a piece or two of great advice and you have practiced again. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow on the next workshop. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye.